Hello guys, you are seeing Prime News Australia, where we show you the latest and important news of Australia in the fastest and reliable way. So come, let's start by not delaying 25 big updates of the Australia, especially for you. Before proceeding in the video, comment by commenting from which state you are watching, and also like video so that YouTube can reach this video to more people of Australia.
Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has welcomed a 2-week ceasefire agreement between the United States, Israel and Iran, describing it as positive news that could lead to lasting de-escalation in the Middle East. However, he criticized US President Donald Trump's earlier threats to destroy Iranian civilian infrastructure as not appropriate and causing concern. Australia's most decorated living soldier, Ben Robert Smith, was arrested at Sydney Airport and charged with 5 counts of war crime murder. The former SAS veteran, a Victoria Cross recipient, faces allegations related to the deaths of unarmed civilians and detainees in Afghanistan between 2009 and 2012. He spent his first night in custody at Silverwater Jail and will appear in court. Mining billionaire Gina Rinehart expressed strong disbelief over the extensive investigation and arrest of Ben Robert Smith. She questioned how spending more than $300 million to pursue war crimes charges against decorated SAS veterans who served Australia in Iraq and Afghanistan could be justified. Rinehart called for compassion and the Aussie spirit towards those who risked their lives for the country, urging a rethink of the resources devoted to such probes years after their service. The Australian share market surged more than 2.7% to 8,965 points following the announcement of the US-Iran ceasefire deal. Global oil prices plunged as geopolitical risks eased, boosting investor confidence across sectors. The Australian dollar jumped over 2%, while gold prices also rose. Analysts said the positive market reaction reflected reduced fears of prolonged disruption to energy supplies caused by the Middle East conflict. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese is travelling to Singapore to meet his counterpart and secure Australia's fuel supplies amid ongoing uncertainties from the Middle East crisis. The visit aims to diversify import sources and ensure stability as global oil disruptions continue to pressure domestic prices and availability. 2 cyclones are forming in waters near Australia, raising concerns for northern regions. Severe tropical cyclone Mila, upgraded to Category 5 with sustained winds of 215 km per hour, is moving towards far north Queensland and could cross Cape York this weekend. Authorities are monitoring the system for heavy rainfall, strong winds and potential flooding, although only one of the twin cyclones is expected to make direct landfall on the Australian coast. New Nationals leader Matt Canavan unveiled a bold Australia on steroids economic plan at the National Press Club. The proposal includes building new cities, encouraging higher birth rates among Australians, and developing a domestic space industry. Canavan argued the blueprint would supercharge national growth, counter net zero policies, and address migration issues through a strong patriot agenda focused on long-term prosperity and self-reliance. The federal government confirmed that Australia's fuel stocks remain at normal levels despite international tensions. Officials are working closely with trade partners to secure additional supplies if needed. Temporary cuts to fuel excise are helping ease cost pressures on households and businesses. Prime Minister Albanese announced plans to ban new dodgy lotteries that serve as disguised betting fronts. The crackdown targets unregulated online gambling operators exploiting consumers through misleading lottery-style platforms. The move aims to protect vulnerable Australians from rising addiction risks and unfair practices, following growing public and political concerns about the proliferation of such schemes in the digital space. Survivors of the Bondi terror attack have requested anonymity protections during ongoing legal proceedings. The request underscores the lasting trauma and safety fears experienced by those affected by the high-profile incident earlier in 2026. It has shifted national conversations around security, victim support, and social cohesion in the wake of the attack that claimed lives and injured many in Sydney. A former NRL player has been cleared to compete in a bare-knuckle fighting bout, despite facing pending assault charges. The decision has sparked a debate about eligibility criteria in combat sports and whether legal processes should restrict athletic participation. Critics argue it raises questions about consistency, while supporters highlight the importance of separating court matters from sporting opportunities until convictions are final. Australia has deployed an E-7 Wedgetail aircraft to the United Arab Emirates to support allies against drone attacks. Climate and Energy Minister Chris Bowen described the move as being in Australia's national interest, emphasising its defensive purpose amid regional instability linked to the broader Middle East situation. Experts are investigating the sharp rise in ADHD and autism spectrum disorder diagnoses across Australia. Contributing factors under discussion include greater public awareness, improved screening methods, and possible environmental or societal influences. Easter travel plans across Australia were significantly disrupted by surging fuel prices and broader economic pressures linked to the Middle East conflict. Many families opted for local staycations and shorter trips instead of long-distance journeys. Regional tourism operators reported lower visitor numbers as households tightened budgets, highlighting how global events directly affect domestic holiday patterns and the tourism sector. A former Sydney nanny accused of involvement in kidnappings and torture during Chile's Pinochet dictatorship in the 1970s will be extradited after losing a long legal battle. The woman allegedly served as a secret agent during the era. The case, spanning 7 years, marks a significant development in international justice efforts and has drawn attention to historical human rights issues involving Australians. New South Wales has expanded access to free nasal spray flu vaccines for children, joining other states in the initiative. The program seeks to increase immunisation rates ahead of the flu season and reduce hospitalisations among young Australians. Health authorities hope the child-friendly delivery method will encourage higher uptake and protect vulnerable communities from seasonal respiratory illnesses. Former Olympic cyclist Rohan Dennis has criticised media coverage following the 2023 death of his wife, Melissa Hoskins. Using social media, he rejected what he called a false narrative created by journalists and expressed his ongoing grief. The public comments have reignited discussions about privacy, media responsibility, and the personal toll of high-profile tragedies on athletes and their families. The federal government introduced emergency orders to support truck drivers amid diesel shortages and price volatility caused by global oil disruptions. The measures aim to keep supply chains moving smoothly and prevent major economic impacts. Truck operators have warned that prolonged issues could grind parts of the transport industry to a halt if fuel security is not quickly stabilised. Queensland's Premier has requested fast-track approvals and changes to federal environmental laws for a major fossil fuel project in Western Queensland. Citing national interest exemptions and energy security needs, the push comes as Australia grapples with fuel supply concerns from the Middle East. The development could boost local jobs but has raised debates over environmental impacts. Australian households are facing a triple whammy of bill increases in April, including higher private health insurance premiums, rising energy costs, and possible mortgage adjustments. The combined pressures are intensifying cost of living challenges already worsened by global events. Many families are feeling the strain as everyday expenses continue to climb across multiple essential services. One Nation leader Pauline Hanson vowed to continue supporting Ben Roberts-Smith following his arrest on war crimes charges. Her stance contrasts sharply with calls from the Greens that no one should be above the law. The political divide has deepened public discourse around veteran support, justice, and accountability in high-profile military cases. The Australian Travel Industry Association has launched the Independent Travel Agents Association, with inaugural members now providing a stronger collective voice for smaller operators. The new group aims to influence national policy discussions and represent independent agents more effectively in an increasingly competitive market dominated by larger players. The Australian Defence Force showcased a special jersey collaboration between HMAS Harmon and the Canberra Raiders rugby league team. The initiative salutes sailors and boosts morale through community engagement. It highlights the strong links between defence personnel and sporting clubs, using sport as a platform to honour service and foster positive public connections. Authorities have clarified varying state-by-state rules on drink driving offences involving e-bikes and electric scooters. A recent high-profile case in Sydney involving a Lime bike rider has renewed public awareness of penalties and regulations. Officials are urging riders to understand local laws as e-mobility options grow in popularity across Australian cities. Local councils across Australia are reporting higher operational costs due to fuel shortages and price spikes linked to the Middle East conflict. The Australian Local Government Association warned that these pressures are directly affecting community services, road maintenance, and infrastructure projects.